I just hope Randy makes the right decision. There are people like Edge, Kurt Angle that said they wouldn't come back once they found out they had injuries, and the doctors told them, it'd be dangerous for them to return to the ring.
Right.
And they came right back.
One-on-one.
Mac Davis and WWE Hall of Famer Teddy Long with one-on-one right here on Sportskeeda. Hey, Teddy.
Hey, what's going on, Mac?
Not much. You had an interesting weekend. You were at WrestleCade. A lot of big stars there.
Oh, yeah, man. We had a great time there, man, at WrestleCade. Got a chance to see my favorite hero, JBL. He was there with Ron. They were doing a signing, so being there with both of them, was the highlight of my life. And also, John, he's a pet lover, so I showed JBL my dog, Mr. Rufus, and he just fell in love with him. So he told me anytime he does anything, send him pictures of Mr. Rufus.
Sergeant Rufus.
Yes.
We got to call him Sergeant. We got to give him a little title there. So.
Well, that's enough, Mr. Rufus.
That'll work. Teddy, over the weekend, of course, we had Survivor Series, big pay-per-view for WWE, a good pay-per-view, as a matter of fact, start to finish. The only thing I would say about pay-per-views, for the love of God, can they shorten them a little bit? I mean, there's 4 hours of a pay-per-view, one after the other, and that will wear a person out after a while, especially when you're near 60 years old. There's only so much time you want to keep your eyes glued to a TV. But a good pay-per-view, Sasha Banks did not show up. Naomi did not show up. And I'm hearing now that Sasha Banks, we may not see her until the first of next year, that she's actually working a project outside of the WWE that has her busy. So that's going on. And so if anybody's going, hey, y'all missed Naomi and Sasha, there are some issues. It came to money and came to their actual schedules, from what I understand. So Teddy, I want to ask you something. Over the weekend during that pay-per-view, there was something I noticed, and I've noticed this a lot in WWE lately. They sweeten the sound. They're adding cheers and applause and the boos and the fan noise. Have you noticed that becoming a trend lately?
Well, not really. I mean, sometimes, I've known them to do that, but, not on a regular basis. So, yeah, I'm not familiar with them doing that all the time.
Yeah, they've been ever since COVID. They started, they were sweetening the sound then. And I understood that because they were inside. There was no audience and they were trying to give people that feel of an audience there. But when they got away from COVID, they kept using that sweetener. And I can hear it every time I listen to the show. And it drives me crazy because it's that same murmur kind of cheering you hear in the background. You're like, that's not real. And it's not, and it doesn't go with the program. It's like that move doesn't require that response.
Well, we just have to look at it like this. You know what I mean? We see things that a lot of other people don't see. So my thing is this: if it's all right with them, if they ain't got no problem with it, then I ain't got no problem with it either.
Over the weekend, Kevin Owens made his return. He came in with the Bawling Brutes and Sheamus against the Bloodline, and also what's his name? Sami Zayn, who Sami Zayn has become one hell of a performer. Have you been keeping up with the Bloodline and Sami Zayn, Teddy?
Not really. I've looked at some of it. I haven't been able to, sit down and really take time and really watch it all. But Sami Zayn has always been a great performer. I had a chance to work with him one time. I went back to do something there, and him and I got a chance to work together, and I enjoyed every minute of it. And Sami Zayn is like hidden talent. You know what I mean? I think maybe finally somebody realizes what they've had there all that time.
Has he always been kind of crazy in the back as well? Because he seems like he's just, look, he had the Bloodline actually break character in the ring just a few months, about a month ago, I guess it was, when he started talking about the not feeling oozy. And they all started laughing in the ring, which was not supposed to happen. But he seems like he's probably one hell of a character in the back.
Yeah, well, nice guy. That's all I can tell you about him. Really fun, keeping everybody laughing. So, yeah, he's a character.
Reports have it that KO and Roman Reigns may be going for the title at Royal Rumble. You've worked with both these gentlemen. You've been around both these gentlemen. What are your thoughts on Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns facing each other?
Well, I think you got one hell of a match there. Kevin Owens has certainly come a long way in such a short time. His work has gotten a lot better. You know what I mean? His in-ring work has gotten a lot better. And as we all know, Roman, just a master in the ring. So I think, you're going to see one hell of a match there.
Kevin Owens, one thing, he kind of reminds me of the old days, Dusty Rhodes. Not exactly, the most fit-looking guy, not muscled up or anything else, but he had something about him that people really liked. I'm curious, though, back in the day that you were there and Vince was there, how did Vince see characters like that? Did he like the guys that were a little bit pudgy and overweight like that?
Well, if you can perform and get the job done, that's a whole different story. But Vince was always, very aware about the weight. I mean, some days you go to TV there and he'd have a scale. They'd already have the scale out. They'd weigh everybody, and then you write your name down and you take that list back and give it to Vince. And I weighed one day, and I think he come back to me, and he was right too, because I was messing around there, and I had to put on a little bit, and he came right back to me and told me, he said, "Hey, you putting on a little weight there." And I said, "You're exactly right. You're right."
So they actually had a scale in the back, and he kept up with everybody's weight.
Yeah, he did.
Wow. Now, see, that's something I never knew he even did in the back. So he was that aware of everyone's situation then, huh?
Exactly.
Wow. Now, did he often tell people change the color of your hair, or could you change the color of your hair? If, like a woman, if she's blonde, could she go and make her hair brunette without saying anything?
Well, I mean, you can do that, but it's best that, you may talk to somebody about it before you do it, because you don't know what direction, they're going with you for as your character. And maybe blue hair might not fit with the way that they, with the way that they're getting ready to use you. So, I mean, like I said, they ain't, they ain't cursing you or nothing, but,
right.
In order to, change your color of your hair or something, I'd really talk with the writers.
Yeah, especially if you want to shave your head if you're a guy, because anytime that you're going to shave your head, the promoter wants you to get a hair match.
Well, yeah, you make that mean something.
That's right. Well, you're going to shave that hair off, you might as well make some money while you do it.
Well, I had a match with Paul Ellering at Capital Comeback, hair versus hair, and both of us, Paul, neither one of us had any ass. Explain that to me.
Going to shave that $5 shadow off the top of your head.
Yeah.
The Rock, he had dropped a comment over the weekend where he mentioned that, and I'm going to read this as a quote, "I finally exorcised this damn chocolate demon that's been gnawing at me for decades. We were evicted from Hawaii in 1987. And after all these years, I finally got back home to right this wrong. I was broke as hell, so I used to steal king-sized Snickers every day from the 7-Eleven for almost a year when I was 14. He goes on to say that he went back to Hawaii. He purchased every Snickers bar in the store and also purchased everybody's food items, gas, and everything else while he was there that particular day, just to pay back for the things that he did wrong when he was young."
Right. Well, it don't get no better than that. How many people you think that'll really take the time and go back to even do that?
Yeah, he made a comment that, he said he would go by that 7-Eleven every time. And it was just gnawing. It was like, I used to steal. And he said the only way he could do it was to clear his mind was to go over there and just buy everything they had. Right. And he actually boiled even more and said, if somebody comes in here and they're trying to steal, give them one of these.
Well, they got their money back.
Hey, speaking of Rock, you met one of his friends over the weekend at WrestleCade.
Yeah, Harvey Whippleton was there, and me and him, I've known Harvey, geez, all my whole career. What a nice guy. Yeah, and I also talked to Harvey, and Harvey wanted to let you know that he wants to come on our podcast here and talk to us. And I thought that was a great idea, because there's a lot of things about Harvey Whippleton that people really don't know. Yep. And we can have him, I want to ask him about his role with the TV series Little Rock.
Young Rock.
Come to find out that they had somebody, had a guy in there playing Harvey Whippleton. So I really didn't know some of the, the background until he talked to me and told me how he helped Rock when he first started out. Mm-hmm. And there you go. That's Rock doing another good deed. He didn't get where he came from. He went back to Harvey. And when they got ready to start doing that TV series, they made Harvey a consultant. So they had to go through Harvey in order to make the movie, because Bruno knew it all. And Harvey's has agreed to come on the show. So we're going to say that and let Harvey tell us all about that.
Well, let me ask you about Harvey. You worked with Harvey. Any great stories with Harvey that you can recall?
No, Not really. I mean, a lot. When I was in WWE with him, now he worked a lot behind the scenes. He did a lot, got a lot of errands, and did a lot of stuff. Went and got stuff for Vince and people. So no good stories. He just was one nice guy. Yep. One nice guy.
He was on a recent episode, of Tales from the Territories, and he was on there. Very good show as well. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out. But
I've seen that.
Yep. So,
I saw him on there. Well, see, that's who you have to talk to, people like Lawler and people that were Jarrett. They say they were in the territory with him, so they could tell you the good stories.
Yep. And Jerry is on the Facebook, my Facebook page all the time. So Jerry, if you ever get a chance, we'd love to have you on as well. Just throw that out there. There's some great stories from back then I know, and like you say, I won't share them right now, but once we get Harvey on, that'll be fantastic because I know some of the stories that are out there that we need to follow up on. Randy Orton's career, Teddy, may be over. It seems that due to his injury, he's been out for a while, but he had to have a fusion done in his lower back. I, for the life of me, have no idea anything more than that, other than it just came out yesterday that things don't look good for Randy in the future of his, in-ring performance.
Well, the thing that I'd like to say about that, Randy Orton, a great friend of mine too, had a lot of good times with him there too. I just hope Randy makes the right decision. There are people like Edge, Kurt Angle that said they wouldn't come back once they found out they had injuries, and the doctors told them, it'd be dangerous for them to return to the ring. Right. And they came right back. You know what I mean? So I just hope Randy just does the right thing. If the doctor tells you to stay out of the ring, I suggest you stay out of the ring, and not to just deliberately hurt yourself, but it's still about the money, man. So look at Kurt Angle here. You just mentioned something earlier that he wants to come back to the Royal Rumble to wrestle Shane McMahon. Yep. And
I got more on that, as a matter of fact. We'll get to in just a minute. But yeah, Randy has already had his career in the WWE. I don't know what else he could possibly attain that he hasn't attained already. And, his health and his future is more important.
Well, he could become a mentor. They got a lot of young guys there, a lot of young kids there that need, talking to, need learning, need to be trained. And Randy Orton,
just like Randy did. I'm sorry. I was going to say like Randy, because Randy came in, he needed some help because he came in really immature, did he not?
Right.
Yep.
And that's what I say with a lot of the young kids that they got at NXT and places, that could really need the knowledge and the help. So Randy would be great in that field, to help the young kids, with their matches. He's a good promo man. He can help you with that. And he can also help you, like I said, a lot with your ring work.
Now, his father recently also said that if his son does come back, he'd like to see Randy feud with Cody Rhodes to continue the Orton and Rhodes feuds.
Well, that's not a bad idea. You know what I mean? I watched something they did on Tales of the Territory where they had Bob Roop going after Steve Keirn's father, and it was really a legit deal. He was a veteran, and he came home, and then Bob Orton used it and started calling him a coward and stuff, but they made it out of anger, and they drew money. They had people, wanting to jump on them, throwing bricks at their cars and everything. So, wow. That's what I always said about you're going to draw money. You have to stay with reality. Go with what's going on today. And I'll always say this. I think the reason the Iron Sheik and Sergeant Slaughter made so much money is because it was real. Sheik was from Iran. They were having a war at the time. So here the U.S. wants, needs a hero. Sergeant Slaughter was the hero. The Iron Sheik was the bad guy. And it was reality. It was real.
Let me ask you, do you think we can still do angles that way with today's current environment and how people are? Everybody gets kind of hurt, if you say anything wrong, and it's hard to get heat like you used to.
Well, you just have to watch what you do and watch what you say. You know what I mean? That's how you have to do it now. It can happen now. You just have to be careful. You have to always keep in the back of your head that there's always somebody out there waiting to hear you say something wrong so they can jump right on it. Or there's somebody out there waiting to see you do something so they can jump right on that. Wherever you go, there's always one.
You've worked in the WWE during the times of the brand splits and the what they call those things? I'm trying to remember now. The drafts. Can you give me the pros and cons of drafts when it comes to wrestling with the WWE? Because Triple H now is talking about bringing back the draft after WrestleMania, and kind of bringing that back to life. You were there, like I say, during those times. Pros and cons of the draft and how it works.
Well, the draft is, you change brands. A lot of guys that worked on Raw for a long time there, then they, switch them over to SmackDown, and put them in that environment. I think that's great. That's a great idea. And like I said, that way you don't get stale. If you move from Raw to SmackDown, then you're like in a brand new territory there. You know what I mean? But if you move and with the draft, I hope they got something to carry along with you. If you move from Raw to SmackDown, I hope they got a good storyline on SmackDown to get you started.
Right. Your history in the past with the drafts, were there times when the drafts really kind of it disappointed you, I guess, as the general manager? Did you lose talent? You're like, oh, I didn't want to lose that guy. Well,
yeah, all that's part of it, but there's nothing I can do about that. You know what I mean? If that's the boss's call, if you want to take this guy from me and move him over there, then I just have to adjust and adapt to whatever he throws my way. So yeah, a lot of guys I hated to lose, man. But hey, like I said, it's not my call. But whoever they sent to me, I was able to work with them, who it was.
During the drafts, was anybody aware of who would be going where? Did the superstars find out themselves, just like the viewers did at home?
They found out themselves, just like the viewers did. They didn't tell anybody anything.
Did that cause any problems in the back between the boys?
No. Well, no. Hey, what problem is going to cause? What you going to do?
That's true. You still have a job. You're just not on the same show.
Yeah, right. What you going to do? Quit worrying about it. Just go do what you're told.
I would imagine, though, if you're a tag team and one part of the tag team goes one way and you go the other, that kind of sucks. But, hey, that must mean they have a singles push for you coming.
Well, nothing lasts forever. Winter changes the summer.
Very true. Very true. Also in the news, talking about Rhea Ripley and even is going as far as saying that she is maybe today's new Chyna. Your thoughts on?
I wouldn't. Rhea Ripley, she's a great competitor. I saw her, a couple of times in the ring, but I don't compare yourself to anybody. You know what I mean? The name of the game is get yourself over. One time I was on one of these indie shows, and there was this guy in the ring just saying yes, 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 and I brought him back there, and I said, what did that do for you? I said, all you did was make the people think about Daniel Bryan. That's all. They didn't think about you whatsoever. So I always told guys, come up with get your own finish, come up with something that you created so the people will remember you by it. Don't look at, every time you do something in the ring, somebody say, oh, I know what he's going to do now. He's going to do that move Randy Orton does. So that doesn't help you. You know what I mean? You're out there trying to be somebody else. So be creative. Come up with a finish or something that you created on your own. And that way nobody has to take credit for it but you.
Yeah, always be you, not somebody else, because otherwise you're just copying somebody.
Right, exactly, and that ain't gonna get you over.
No. Any stories with Chyna, Teddy, over the years?
No, she was always great to work with. I worked with her a little bit, and always was nice and everything to talk to and everything. So that's all I can say. She just was a sweet girl.
I was about to say, she always came across as a sweetheart. Even despite all the problems that we know she had later on, she came across like a real sweetheart. Was she always jacked like that when she came in? Was she? Because I don't recall her early days. I don't remember if she was as big and jacked or if she just got that way as time went on.
No, when she came in, she was that size.
Wow. So just a big girl overall.
Well, she worked out. Back in the day, I worked out, not with her, but I mean, we shared the same gym together because we was on the road. A lot of times we shared the hotel gym, and then sometimes I'd see her in gyms on the road, but she worked out just as hard as the guys, man.
Kurt Angle, we were talking about this a little while ago, has said on his podcast that he would be open to facing Shane McMahon at WrestleMania under the right circumstances. And he says, quote, it would have to be a lot of money. I'm talking like $10 million. WWE could afford it. That's what he says.
I don't think WWE is even thinking about giving Kurt Angle $10 million just to wrestle Shane McMahon, okay? They can find somebody out there, to wrestle Shane McMahon that'll be 1 million times cheaper. So I don't know what Kurt Angle's talking about. Love him to death, brother, but you ain't gonna get no 10 million, okay?
Yeah, and that may have just been him being tongue in cheek, saying, "I don't plan on wrestling again unless they pay me $10 million."
Well, that might be in that too, because he knows he's not gonna get 10 million.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That's his way out.
And,
well, they can give me 10 million, so I'm not gonna do it.
And if they do give you $10 million, then it may be worth crippling yourself a little bit in there.
If you're getting 10 million, man, you done did it before. You done trusted yourself before. Then go jump on in there and go get the money.
Teddy, I had someone ask me just last weekend about you and SmackDown and some of your favorite superstars to work with on SmackDown. Can you share?
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody that was there. I mean, I didn't have no favorites or no special people. I got along with everybody, so I enjoyed working, especially with JBL. Batista, enjoyed doing stuff with him, the late great Eddie Guerrero. I did stuff with Kurt Angle for a while there too. So everybody on SmackDown, CM Punk at the time, and we did the Undertaker's deal. So everybody, that I worked with was my favorite. I didn't have no picks.
Teddy, I want to ask you about a typical day for you at SmackDown. If you, what is a typical day? I just ask you that just plainly.
Well, a typical day is wait.
Really, just wait.
Well, yeah, especially if you're not, if you're not busy, you're not doing a whole lot. But then you could be waiting, and all of a sudden you're doing a ton of stuff. So typical day was just great. I mean, you had to arrive around 2 p.m. in the afternoons, and from 2 p.m. until showtime started, you were right there doing rehearsals, or if you had a rehearsal, or you were at ringside watching other stuff, or you were getting with the writers and you were doing pre-tapes. So a typical day was all right. That's why, I had really good days because, like I said, a lot of those days are real stressful. Yep. Sometimes the boss is in a bad mood, so he's acting up, man. So you got to be able to deal with that. So, but that's why I always went to the gym every morning, got the stress off, and then I made that day a good day.
During the time that you were in WWE, did you see folks who just couldn't handle that stress? That just the stress just broke them?
Well, yeah. I've seen a couple of people that couldn't handle it. It was just too much, especially, and I was blessed to have a good memory with the promos, because that's what really the stress is they bring you 3 sheets of stuff there that you got to get in your head. You got to learn, and you got to say all that stuff when it's time, for when we come on the air live. So that's the real stressful part. If you ain't got that memory, if you, trying to remember all that stuff down, and that's really hard. Even me with the good memory, I forgot some stuff one time, and I'll never forget it. I was in the ring with Booker T and Charmel, and I forgot my lines, and Charmel was lucky enough at rehearsal. She was there, and so she remembered it, and she picked it right up, and then it all come back to me. So, and that's how we were working together there, because nobody never knew that.
I would imagine that Vince was probably really strict on the scripts as far as word for word. Do you find it easier to work with the script or work with bullet points?
I find it easier just to work with the script. You know what I mean? Because Vince will, they write you something, they'll bring it to you. He'll let you know what you really need to stress on and what really needs to be talked about. Like that word I screwed up that time, episodic.
Yep.
And I couldn't remember. And that was the word that he wanted said. Out of all that writing, he wanted that one word, episodic. And I'm telling you, when I couldn't remember that or screwed that up, oh God, that was like, I was crushed.
We were talking about ribs on the last show and some of the ribs that take place. Were you ever involved in a rib?
No, I didn't do that because I didn't want anybody ribbing me.
Gotcha. Any good ribs that you were a part of that you watched from the outside take place?
I
would imagine the reason I bring this up is we were talking about Rikishi and giving you the stink face and things he could do to kind of make, some of the guys in the ring just, toss their cookies just or put something nasty back there. I would have to imagine, though, there are moments like that where the guys are ribbing the guys, but the fans have no idea it's happening.
Yeah. Well, I've seen a lot of ribs, but like I said, if you don't rib nobody, then nobody rib you. I just didn't like that. Because, like I said, there are some guys that would just do just filthy stuff just to, to rib people. I think one time they made Mark Henry a sandwich. And, Yeah, man.
And Mark Henry. Now, that's not somebody I'd want to mess with.
Well, you don't know who the River is, so.
Wow. What did Mark do?
Oh, brother, he lost it. You know what I mean? Because that just, you don't make a sandwich,
No. And not with the world's strongest man either. I mean, and when he was young, he had a temper.
Yeah, well, he's like that now. Marcus is a gentle giant too, yes. But now you can't piss him off now.
Yeah, and I wouldn't send him a sandwich. I'm sorry, I don't know who did that, but they must be completely stupid, or either that or they were just high as hell. Who knows?
Yeah, one of the two.
Mark Henry is somebody who I've always wanted to meet. I've met him once in New York, and he was a very kind person, actually. He's, like you say, he's a gentle giant. He's nothing like what you expect him to be. But one thing I learned about him is he hates scary things. He absolutely hates anything to do with something scary. Monster movies, scary movies, forget it. He wants nothing to do with them.
Well, and he don't take shots either. He's scared of needles.
Oh, really? He doesn't like a needle. Uh-oh. Yeah. My wife still takes liquid medicine because she can't swallow a pill.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm like, baby, you swallow food bigger than that. But,
yeah.
Teddy, where are you going to be in the next couple of weeks? Anywhere? Or are you sitting down, getting ready to relax for a while?
Well, I may be relaxing. I did talk to somebody this morning, so maybe this weekend I may be going to Norfolk, Virginia. I'm not sure. I haven't got the final word on that, but if I do, I'll let everybody know.
How about the T-shirts? Now, I've had people ask me after the last show where to find your T-shirts.
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to let you give them that information, and I'm going to get them to you, and that way they can contact you, and that way they can get them.
Yeah, and we're actually working on a store right now. I'm actually looking at several different options, and I want to make sure it's the right option for Teddy and I and for all of our listeners and watchers to really have a chance to go out and get our swag, but also get it very easy without having to go through a lot of headache to get it. So we're working on that.
I wanted to pass along, too, to our fans, too. I want to start, giving away some T-shirts. We're going to ask, instead of asking Teddy, we're going to ask you a question.
Correct.
And if you can answer that question, we're going to send you a free T-shirt in the mail.
Teddy, we also have another show that you can tune into to catch Teddy and I doing some crazy things, and that's Road Trip After Hours, 30-minute time limit, and that is one wild, wild show.
Yeah, I'm just having the time of my life doing both of these with Sports Kita, being involved with them, and then we're doing our own thing, and it's on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So I'm just having a ball. What the guys say, living the dream.
Living the dream. And by the way, living the dream, you can make us live our dream. Down below, there's a subscribe button. Go down there, subscribe, like, share. Do all that for us because we're trying to grow this podcast and show, and it only will happen with your help. And Teddy, I know that you've been hit with a lot of people talking about the show. I've been hit with a lot of people talking about the show. And we now know that Bruno wants to be on the show, which we're going to have Bruno on probably in the next week. Actually, maybe by the next show, we can talk Bruno into coming on. Right. If not, we'll get him very soon thereafter.
Well, I have already talked to him, so he's ready to come. All we got to do is let him know.
Well, Bruno, you'll be on our next show. And all of our viewers right now, Bruno will be on our next show. And when we say Bruno, it's downtown Bruno. Yes. And also he also contributes to the Young Rock, the TV show, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we'll have him on. Teddy and I will be back, and we hope you'll be back right here on 101 with Mac Davis and WWE Hall of Famer Teddy Long.
Holla at a player.